McDonald's. Thanks to me and Dr. Beater, this wall has been annihilated. Dr. Beater and I, in 1982, stopped the Bolshevik attack on Moscow from the Pentagon. September 17, 1982. 7 years later, September 17, 1989, Eric, the head of the East German Republic, got sick on the 7th anniversary of September 17, 1982. And today we have this wonderful museum, this Karl Marx Strasse. Karl Marx Strasse, the whole Western Berlin is just nothing but capitalism. We just dumped capitalism on Karl Marx. But Karl Marx is showing up in Dobbstown. We are going to retrieve Karl Marx for the software communism of the TV body, flipped into the individual communism of Quadrophenic for the Hexad body. What else would it say about this? So yes, this is
polarity.
Polarity. So this is 25 years later. 89, 29, 2009. 25 years later. August 5th. 25, a quarter of a century later. Nothing has changed.
It's like Disneyland.
Nothing has changed. The polarity is still here. People think it should be imaged. That's just as much as having it here as a physical artifact. So
it's like a theme park.
Yeah. Well, it's a theme park, but it's real. It's as real as it was before. So the Berlin Wall never went down because this memory will be preserved for a long time. As much as what it was a memory. It was a memory in 1961 when it started. So the people do not want polarity to go away. They are here to rebuild the image of Checkpoint Charlie, to maintain it as a wonderful testament to the persistence of contrast in the human condition. The ones who donated funds to keep this monument going, to keep the memory of the wall alive, so that we know that there are walls. Of course, this wall was built by Churchill. Churchill made his career out of building walls. We don't see Mr. Churchill's name here. We have Mr. Wall. This wall was named after Hans Wall. Dr. Ruff, Mr. Stoiber, Freedom Forum, Arlington, Mrs. Beth Olizon. I think she died in the 911. I think she was in a plane crash in 911. Disappeared. She was the wife of one of those major guys on the neoconservative forum, whatever that was called. Which letter should we favor? The 20th letter? What should be the last letter? The first A? Should we touch A before we leave? Should we touch N for 14th letter? I think we'd go for the 4th letter, D. So I will touch the letter D as a symbolic gesture to the fourfold way of quadrophenia. So, you see here, on Sky Goddess Sue's 10th birthday, they celebrated by renewing the contract of contrast and polarity, the eternal battle between the flight attendant and the pilot, Sue being the flight attendant, me being the pilot, right? The eternal tactile interval. 13th of August, 1961. Then the next date is August 22nd, 1961. You got General Lucius Clay there. Major factor in the Kennedy assassination. He's the one who airlifted the tank or something. Actually, it's DeMay, Lucius DeMay. Clay was an insider. So now this is, if you look at my chart. The chart begins in 1960. Keep on look at you. We get this with it. So 1960, the chart begins, goes to 1990. See, that's the beginning of the Android meme. 1961, they set up the fake polarity. There wasn't enough polarity going on in the 50s. So this is the beginning of the chart. This is the LaRouche quadrant. May-Brussels quadrant, Elvis, no, jazz, period of jazz, beatniks. You see it in the LaRouche quadrant on my chart. Ezra Pound, Time magazine, etheric body, newspaper, after image of the newspaper. Well, that was 1960. Basically replaying 1947 to 57, crystallized in 1960. So this is the beginning. It's so appropriate they begin on Sky Goddess Sue's birthday. See, when we rewrite the 60s, this will be highlighted, right? We're giving you the rewrite of the 60s. It was significant. They go from the 13th, and you get 9 days later, August 22nd. 9. Note there are 9 levels on the tiny note chart. Now, we will identify you, a record of you, making a record of me. So what's in there? It's Charlie's Beach.
It's a bar.
Oh, it's a bar. Why I say the polarity contrast continues is because it's the eye versus the ear. The Western eye versus the Soviet ear. But this global theater caused by Sputnik in 1957 created a tactile interval. The tactile interval was really the fusion, and then people had to retrieve the past. So they retrieved the eye versus ear dialectic on Sue Bohm's birthday, August 13, 1961, to emphasize the obsolescence and retrieving of the archetypes of the eye and the ear. So the endless argument between James Joyce and Wyndham Lewis continued, and it continues today in the hexadic level of the post-Android meme, para-moderate, bouquet, lotus, bouquet, solid tempo, democracy, democracy. I hope I brush my teeth.
רגע, לא, זה של אופק המתוחם זה מוצא יצרתי.